AI is reshaping industries from finance and healthcare to e commerce and logistics. However, the real driving force behind AI's success is data. A 2024 study by MIT Technology Review Insights and Snowflake found that 78% of companies feel at least somewhat unequipped to deploy generative AI at scale, with weak data strategies being the prevailing issue. And another study found out that inadequate data infrastructure is a major factor in AI projects failing. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Analytics Inside podcast, where we talk about the ever evolving tech space. And I am your host, Priya Dialani. The challenge for today's CDOs and data leaders is to focus on the changes that can enable generative AI to generate the greatest value for the business. The landscape is still rapidly shifting, and there are few certain answers as well. Let's welcome Arun Reddy, Senior Cloud Database Engineer at CoStar Reality Inc, to understand that in today's digital economy, data isn't just fuel, it's the foundation. Hi, Arun, how are you doing?
I'm doing very well, Priya. Thanks for having me today.
Great. It's a pleasure to have you on a podcast today, Arun. And of course, I mean, we have been, reading and hearing and listening as to the significance, the importance, and the role of data when we want to measure the success of any AI initiative or any AI project. But I think we'll get to know more about it from you since the entire theme today revolves around data and why it's the foundation for any AI project. But before we dive deeper into our conversation, we would like to know more about CoStar Reality. So, if you could help us understand about the organization, its specialization, it would be great.
Sure, Priya. So CoStar is like having like helping customers in USA for the property data, and we expanded into UK and as well as Australia. So this is like mostly we are focusing on like major applications are like commercial space and like helping them like for the customers to like rent out and like where the commercial buildings are available. And along with that, we are having like apartments.com, which is huge. Like whoever wants to like a renter or like a tenant or owner, they want to like publish their site, their properties in the online, so we can help them and the leasing process and everything. And as well as like there is one more application which is like homes.com, so it can be list like all the like active listing properties like which are like ready for the sale or like lands, and almost like all the geographical property data we are like helping the customers and putting like a ready-made data and fast way to the customers and take like their next steps where they want to be like live, where like what kind of like location they want to be in, and those kind of like help will provide them. And here in like Coaster, like my role is like as a database administrator and cloud also I will be in part of, and we keep the data optimized, secure, and we for the LLMs we feed the data with like ongoing like changes and everything.
Right, thank you for that overview, Arun. And this really sets the stage for our conversation today. You also gave, a gist about your role at CoStar, but we would like to know more about you, Arun. I mean, you are a result-driven senior cloud and database engineer with over 16 years of expertise in database administration, cloud infrastructure, and data processing. So if you could, introduce yourself or help us understand how has your journey been till date and what are certain factors that probably shaped your journey today.
Yeah, sure, Priya. So I started my journey as like a database administrator. When I've been like joined as like database administrator, major role was like just like keep the data secure and like set up like data disaster recovery for the data. And eventually the data start like passing and become like learning like developing skills as well as like a cloud skills. So being like database administrator, major thing is like I need to like keep the data alive, and there was like no issues, and customers are like getting like optimized data. There is like no delays and slowness, and sometimes they huge traffic and come jump in and like try to like read the data and should not make sure like their database servers are like not like max out and like having like issues for the customers. So that is one thing. And there is like optimization and automations are like other things like whenever like we want like something like there is like chance for the optimization and my role like just taken like okay there is like a store procedure and which is like running like very slow if like I the tuning is like more important like just like a data keep on grows if like I worked in like First American title insurance company also so they have like a property data and there used to be like some certain like limit like when I joined there like they used to like push like a county based data that time they were building so during the time when they push some data that data size was like I just want to pick a number so there is like 1 million records and keep on they're like loading like more counties the data is keep on growing some certain queries can be like performed well today but it cannot be like tomorrow so optimization will be always like a keep me like probe me to learn like new things like how I can like make this like queries faster if index can help index or if something like rewrite can be help and that's how like I used to like keep monitoring things and there is like automation so automation is like a free database admin it's like a very key role I can suggest because like if you are doing something and you are keep on like it's like reoccurring that like same scenarios so there is like some updates are happening or like some certain jobs like you want to do it like every day or like certain things so a certain time we will like build a like automation process and that can like take some job off from our plate and that can run their own and that can save the time and resources and we get like more leverage to like focus on like other things and learning so I'm using like learning multiple times here so what learning does is whenever like you get like some issues so you don't know what to do but you keep like your brain all the time like keep it in a like learning mode you might read somewhere you just remember oh there was something okay let's go there and like try to find like some new solution for the specific problems and in my journey I helped the CoStar and lost two Super Bowls and when they're expanding like in UK LoopNet app so I helped them like set up that particular thing. In First American, there was like a certain thing process used to take like more than 96 hours. We cut down to like almost like 6 hours. I can say like 8 hours, but like the last like achievement was like 6 hours. So we introduced like a parallel processing and that's the optimizations. And one more thing, like saving space and keeping like data clean. So those is like my challenges. We cannot like take like more space as well as we need to keep like data all the time. Like you want to go back like 7 years, I need to keep the data and I need to like prepare myself and keeping the data as well as like trimming the space and like save the money there. So that's like a little bit challenging and go to that new things like which are like cloud. So we are like able to like right now like I'm working in on-prem as well as cloud. So putting like more data into the cloud and that is like helping for us analytics and like feeding like to that AI tools and make the AI tools learn our data and like give us like more better options for like improvements.
Great. Thank you for walking us through your journey, Arun. And I think our listeners will appreciate the insights that you have gained along the way throughout your journey. Let's build on that and dive into, more the crux of big data, I would say. Now, picture a world where intelligent systems powered by big data drive decisions from forecasting traffic congestion to optimizing energy usage. I think we are already witnessing that. And it is no
Yes.
longer confined to science fiction because it's already a reality. At the heart
Yes.
of this transformation lies big data, the unsung hero of the digital revolution, particularly in this era which is dominated by AI. Now, big
Mhm.
data empowers AI algorithms to achieve boosted accuracy and efficiency by providing a rich scope of information to learn from. Now, we at Analytics Insight believe that big data provides the necessary fuel to run algorithms, allowing AI models to perform better and deliver improved results. But as organizations increasingly embrace data centric strategies, understanding the transformative synergy between big data and AI is essential to thrive in this competitive landscape. So, we are talking today about how big data is fueling AI. So, how do you see
Mhm.
big data as the foundation for AI innovation?
Okay, so AI tools mostly depend on like what the data it has, and you need to train AI models every time. So I can pick like one example. There is like certain thing like a guide like roaming around, and there's like doing like some city like he's like guiding in the city. So the particular thing, if you want like keep it in like LLM models, and it can like create like JSON output, and you like go and train the AI tools, and that way like AI can understand, okay, there is like these many things are there, and it can guide like a proper way. So right now we are not depending on like a guide. You can just go ahead and like ask ChatGPT or like Cloudy or like something or like our AI tools. So you ask like, okay, I want like cover like say certain city in like 5 hours, just guide me like something. So it is like guiding. And backend, so the data should be like inject into the AI. So it can be like a raw data, it can be like already having like a process like metadata. So most of the like data comes from like data warehouses and database and SaaS platforms and files are streaming. So those data can be like inject into that this models, and it will learn. And maybe I might pick like most of like AWS stuff, because like I am mostly working on like AWS stuff. Azure also can having like these kind of things. I cannot like pick like a correct name. I don't want to like misdirect the audience. Sorry for that. But yeah, I can reachable. I'll correct myself. Is there any like inputs from the audience? I definitely like learn from that. So there is like a bedrock processes, or there like it can be like put that managed like knowledges before the interface. So before you are entering into that, like it just like manage everything, and I check go to that like S3 vectors and make sure the data is like correctly injected and like processing request response, how the requests are coming and response is going to the users. That also it's going to be like a measure here. And whenever like there is like a few things I will cover here. So one is like a quality accuracy. So it's mostly the data should be like centric, and whenever that we do that like validations or like lineage features are trustworthy. So data governance, this like comes under like quality and like accuracy. So real-time streamings, especially for like a Kafka or like CDC things. So these features keep like a recommendations, and like make that like AI tools to learn from that. And if like there is a stale data, and it can kill like outputs, and subminute pipelines can change the game. So that is one thing. And governance by design. So we are like putting any of the like data, big data into that like yeah, fuel that like AI tools. So we need to make sure it should be encrypted, it should be like tokenized, it should be authorized, it should be there is like a scale up is should be available. So most of the times like there is like a scale up, most of the people having like a thing that okay it cost comes. Whenever you go and like talk with higher management about the scale up, they think about the cost. So scale up nothing about like you making faster your responses. So yes, that is a debatable, and we cannot like just saying that okay it can be run on like 2x large. You cannot just say like okay let's use the 32x large like server or something. So that should be like, yeah, we need to put like our due diligence and take the decisions. That is like one thing. And there is like understandable unstructured data should be like understandable. So if like there is like right now we are in a like a state like we're subject to correct the number, like it can be like 20 to 30%. I'm just like putting like the number is less. The right now the data is okay, little bit of like structured data is coming into that like into data services or like a data engines. But earlier we used to see like a lot of challenges with the unstructured data. So to just process the data and like keep it in the servers, like I worked in like SQL Server, so putting in SQL Server was like a hectic earlier. Now like we are able to like do like so there are like so many tools in the market, and especially like AWS providing like a lot of services can do that unstructured data to understandable, especially for like PDFs, emails, and there is like a media, like say any like videos. We pair the big data with vector search and RAG and Gen AI answers. So the domain, it can be hallucinate itself, and it can like make the data from unstructured to understandable. And one more thing is like a FinOps. So this is like mostly management can like this things like, because whatever is happening that can show in the numbers like okay this much we are putting here, this tile storage pruning, right sizing, keep the big data affordable. So as I said earlier, if I say like suggest like that X large well is the, like one of the server, it might be like needed only like 4 XL. It might needed only 2 XL. So that also that kind of like decisions also we can get it from the, like this IA tools. Whenever like we put like more, we how much you feed the data into the AI, those many like guidance you can get it from the AI. So you need to train the AI every time. Even you took like some certain like data output you want to prepare. I just picking like as the same example of the guide. So you went to a playbook and you created a like generated a JSON file saying that okay, I want like cover like 10 places in this minutes, and these are like my criteria. And you take the JSON file and you train the like AI tools, and the SageMaker and Bedrock are like better tools, so they can learn and keep the data ready, and your AI can be like improve the supporting to you. And just bottom line, AI is like data product first. Always we need to feed that data to the AI tools.
Definitely. And I think it really shows how big data isn't just a support system, but the actual backbone that allows AI to learn, adapt, and make
Yes.
the decisions. And I think it's
Yes.
the real magic isn't just in collecting vast amounts of information, but in how organizations are able to refine, structure, and apply that data for meaningful outcomes. So it's almost like, big data is actual fuel, but AI is the engine that
Hmm.
transforms it into, the power. And
Yes.
this naturally brings me to another angle. I mean, you also mentioned that while data quantity is important, the quality and governance of that data are equally critical. Now, in the
Yes.
last few years, AI has taken over the complete tech industry. This
Hmm.
includes companies who are also using LLMs to solve various problems and day-to-day challenges. And I think it's just not about tech giants like Apple, Google, and Microsoft that are using and integrating AI in their production. Even small and medium-sized companies are also moving in the AI race. And with so many users and companies using AI, the amount of data that we are processing has significantly increased, which is making it as a target for threat actors. I mean, AI
Yes.
systems use data in multiple steps, starting from training data to users, entering information to get a response from them, and the process goes on. So, due to the sensitive data that AI systems deal with, securing them and the entire data set becomes very important. And this is where AI data security comes into the picture. So, how does data security fit into the big data and AI equation, Arun?
Yeah, before I jump into this question, I just want to add most of the companies they are spending on research and analytics, and that particular teams like mostly they are like feeding like whatever they are getting the output of the researchers. So yeah, in the initially you just like started that. I just want to put it there. So AI is only as safe the data behind it, because this is like whenever like we are building certain levels, it can be like a secure, and it's whenever it is collecting data, it's stored in a place, and it's like process and train and serve every step. It is like a must security is already built, so it's each barricade. Let me use this. So whenever you're collecting data, there should be like a security, and the security team always like make sure each place like they'll put like very tight security. You're collecting data, okay, you collect it, and is there any threat for this like data can be like stolen, or like this like any threats like this hacker threat can happen to that like particular collection. So they'll just make sure, and whenever they are storing the data, they just like make like sure like they put it in like a proper security. If like there is a developer, they want to read like a sensitive data, so whenever like you go to like security team and it says like okay, your designation is like a not matching to this particular data to read it, sorry, you cannot read this data. That's all like the kind of like they are building like walls very strong we cannot like directly just open the door and get into that particular area and get the data. So right now they are building like very, very, very strong like firewalls, and it's not like match here, but like if you even like so most of the places like they are putting like multiple authentication more. And whenever you like usually what we do, we collect less and take the only the data we needed, and that's all like we can make sure that is like a very sensitive data and that we can put it like a okay particular place. And there is like we are doing like some certain things, it's like we are masking the data. So encryption we are doing, and column level encryption masking we are doing, and data wise also we are doing the masking. And on top of it like we are putting like some certain AI tools to that like mask the data. So how it works is like I don't want to like name that particular tool, but like what exactly it does is you'll give like name like okay, Arun Kumari Diagonuru, and he's a DBA, and it's stored as like okay, Tom particular guy is a plumber. So whenever you want to like read like but the available data in a like mask data, it just says like some wrong information. So the particular hacker can't get like a exact data. So it's already been masked, and it's most of the time what we do is we put it like lockdown, and we give the like very very least privileges access. And if like somebody needed access, they need to be like get a proper why they need it, and they need to justify. And there is like AI specific things like those are like RAG vector search, and it will do already encrypt the data in vector stores, and it is like a more security layer while you are reading the data, particular data. And data governance and compliance, so we always like follow GDPR and CCPA basics, and we keep the retention limits, purpose of limits, and keep lineage where data is coming from. So we keep like some alerts on top of it, DLP alerts, and it's any like backup recovery is needed, we always like keep the backup recovery. As a DBA, I forgot to mention earlier, but like we make sure on like disaster recovery, it is like a backup restore, it is keep multiple copies to keep data available whenever like we take the backup. Backup also we encrypt, data can be encrypted, backup can be encrypted, and we just like try to like we do like some test restores. If it is like I take like a particular encrypted backup and give it to like another DBA or like another cloud engineer, and I just ask them like, okay, can you restore this? And if able to do the restore without like master key or like a what would the, like the key, so if they able to do it means I feel like while I'm taking the backup is like encrypted backup. So that is other thing. And coming to like a cloud SQL Server, everybody knows like they are already like always encrypted. Row level security is there, dynamic data masking is there. Cloud there is like a KMSS, secret manager, lake formations, Azure Key Vault, Purview is3, and vector buckets. There's a lot there.
Definitely. And I think, I mean, you wonderfully, broke it down and highlighted that how critical security is when we are working with such vast and sensitive data sets. And, I think while big data and AI, open incredible opportunities for automation and more faster and secure decision making, the foundation always has to be trust and compliance. And I think without a robust data governance, encryption, and ethical safeguards, like you mentioned, I think the entire
Hmm.
whole system becomes vulnerable. So it's almost like AI and big data can only be as powerful as the level of security that protects them. So thank you for that insight, Arun. When we're talking about big data, I think big data, with all our discussion, I think it definitely serves as the driving force behind AI powered automation. It minimizes human intervention while maximizing efficiency across various domains. And we have
Yes.
seen that in various industries, whether it's retail, financial sector. I think it's playing a very important role in transforming industries and enhancing operational precision. One last question for you, Arun. How do you see the future of big data and AI evolving together in the coming years?
Okay, it's like question was like it's simple question, but it's more to discover. Definitely real time by default. So especially like there is like media and videos like streaming data. Definitely like that real time should be like by default and like read fresh data. So every time and streaming pipelines are like low latency features will be standard, not special. And small focused models on private data instead of like only use general models. Terms will run like smaller, fine-tuned models on the like their own data. Some will run on the like edge. So for speed and privacy. And there is like a hybrid search. So it's a SQL and vectors. Apps will like structure queries, especially for SQL with the, like semantic searches for like vector database, and AI can use both tables and documents, and RAG will like use both. And right now they introduced like IS3 tables, so there is like one more, and multimodal like become normal. So earlier like they should be like you can like combine like one set of like data. Right now you can put like text, images, logs, maps, sensor data will be trained and retrieved together. Models will be like across the sources, like there will be a reason like across the sources. And as we discussed, like privacy by design, so expect least privilege access. So don't expect like everything we cannot read. And governance as code, so they should be like every company has like their own policies, and they have like a certain limit, and they need to follow that for every pipeline. And especially regulations, so they need to, most of the companies they follow like GDPR and CCPA and new AIX. So AIX are like keep on adding, and that we need to take it. So in roughly, I'm picking this number: hybrid SQL Server vector search, copilots for data ML, stronger governance and masking. It can be like next 12 to 24 months. In 1 to 2 years or like 3 to 4 years, widespread small domain models, edge interference, confidential compute. So on unified like observability, we can do it. And it can be right now, it's like maybe like people can surprise that has can get like one day self-healing. So AI can one day like self-heal and auto-tune cost. It can scale up and scale down. It can like predict the customer. It can like keep the ready-made data for the like, customer. It can like improve their like a data searches. So right now, like most of the companies are like introducing voice searches. If you want something, you can just like put your voice command, and it is understanding multilingual, and it can like try to put it in a proper question. So you're asking like some like people are like can use like their native language in between of English, or like their native language a portion of the English words. Right now it able to understand that, and it can guidance like what the question, it can frame it in a proper way. So what we can do now like is just like invest something on data contract and lineage and access control, build a lake houses. So it supports like vectors and SQL and a real-time data ingestion into it. Start the like small fine-tuned models and governor data, and most of the time can be like what to that like a research and analytic, and put like observability on both data and models from the starting.
Right. I think when we are talking about big data and AI, eventually I think AI is only as good as the data it learns from. I mean, that data doesn't magically arrive in the right shape. It takes
Yes,
skilled data engineers to design ingestion pipelines, enforce data
yes,
quality, scale infrastructure, also ensure compliance. And that's where engineers and leaders like you come into the picture and shape the entire form of big data and ensure that the AI models that we are working on are safe, secure, accurate, and robust enough. And organizations that definitely invest in strong data engineering today will have a competitive advantage in the future AI innovation. Well, thank you so
yes.
much, Arun, for taking out the time and effort to be on a
Mm.
podcast today and helping us understand that big data is not just relevant, it is indispensable. It is the fuel powering innovation and bridging the connecting today's challenges to tomorrow's possibilities. Thank you so much. It was lovely chatting with you, Arun.
Thank you, Priya. Thanks for having me. And I just want to add one more point here. So, AI in a certain stage, we need to train. So, as much as data you'll give to the AI, that much improvement you'll see it in future. Thank you so much.
Definitely. Thank you so much, Arun. This is for our listeners. I hope you enjoyed today's discussion and learned more about big data and the significance that big data will definitely play in the coming years, and how AI models today are thriving, and the source of its thriving is big data. Stay tuned for our upcoming podcast, and you can view all our previous podcasts on Spotify and other leading platforms. Thank you so much.